available. Ebooks and e-workbooks to mentally and emotionally prepare you to visit, repatriate, or buy land in the Motherland. And the authentic handmade kente cloth I got from Kumasi, Ghana is now a home decor line made by yours truly. Get a piece of the Motherland until you can visit yourself. Click the link in the description box to visit my store.
My. Folks, it's a new day. Beautiful people, welcome. It's a new day. Friday, 12 p.m. PST. Folks, get ready for today. We already got haters in the comments. It's going to be good. So, this live stream, well, let me get into the schedule first. So you know what's popping. And where are you watching from? We already have Los Angeles in the house. We have Chi-Town in the house already. Okay, looks like we have Ghana in the house. So where are you watching from, small but mighty crew? Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to talk about the mission as always. Folks, my mission is simple and plain and straight to the point. And then I'm going to replay a little bit of the video of the live stream last week, which triggered this live stream. Then I'm going to have my special guest, which if you're part of the Small But Mighty crew, you already know who he is. Actually, he's the one that triggered this whole live stream. So we're going to hear from him today. And then we're going to have an open forum, men only. Okay? So men, bring your cojones. Right, bring your boldness. Don't be scared. Don't be a chicken. Okay, grab your balls now and come and share. Right, I know you guys want to share because some of you guys already messaged me. I want to go on your live stream, but I'm scared. Get yourself together and come on this live stream. Okay, we need to hear from you, and we want to hear from you. Okay. And then if you guys want to do the raffle, you can always do that. Overdue, always the first one in the chat. Welcome, brother. And there's going to be, I want to do a poll, but I'm not sure what yet. I'm going to ask you guys that later because I want to hear your guys' opinion. Well, I guess the question will be, why do you think men make laws against women? And you know what? Let me do that. Why do men make laws against women? So this is what I'm thinking. The first option, men are afraid of women's power. Ooh, folks, this is going to be a good live stream. I can already feel it in my soul. Option number 2, that is the way it is supposed to be. And I'm not sure on option number 3, making the playing field equal. I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with these 3. Here, let's start this poll. I pre-typed it, but I wasn't sure, but I'm sure now. Okay. So the poll is up. Why do you think men make laws against women? Option number 1. Did it just disappear? Where'd it go? Do you guys see it? I done typed my little survey and it went away. Folks, do you see the survey? Okay. I think it disappeared. Why though? I don't know why. Okay. Anyways. And so do you see it? Oh, you see it. Okay, great. Folks, I don't know where it went. I can't see it. But if you see it, that's all that matters. It is the poll, not the survey. I'm sorry, the poll. All right. And so that is that. Thank you for the CashApp crew. Folks, JR was a sponsor of last stream. Folks, you can be a sponsor of this stream. Cash App's on the screen and also Super Chat. So whenever you give a Super Chat, that is how you become the stream sponsor. Okay, let's go over the mission real quick. My mission is to bridge the emotional, educational, and cultural gap when it comes to visiting, repatriating, or doing business in the motherland, right? That is the mission of this page. And today, even though land triggered this live stream, we're going to talk about culture, okay? We're going to talk about culture, and I'm just bridging the gap when it comes to culture. Because this mess is important. I didn't know how important it was until we did last week's live stream, and I was like, yeah, we definitely got to talk about this. So that's the mission of this channel, okay? And folks, I don't want to waste too much time talking, but you can definitely take quizzes. What I did to help the community, you can take a travel personality quiz. All those links are in my description box. You can take your Are You Repat Ready quiz. That's linked up in the description box and in the comment section. Folks, let's get into it. So first, I'm going to replay a video, a portion of the video from last week, so everyone's kind of on the same page. Okay, we all need to be on the same page, and then we'll get into our guest. And yeah, we're gonna get it in, folks. We're gonna get it in today. Okay, so let me get to the video. Article 22, Property Rights of Spouses. 1. A spouse shall not be deprived of a reasonable provision out of the estate of a spouse, whether or not the spouse died having made a will. 2. Parliament shall, as soon as practicable, after the coming into force of this Constitution, enact. Okay. You're welcome. Enact legislation regarding regulating the property rights of spouses. Folks, they literally just said it's not even a thing. It's in the Constitution, but it's not enacted. It's in the power of the Parliament. As soon as practicable. When is it? Parliament, when are you going to make it happen? After the coming into force of this Constitution, enact legislation regarding the property rights of spouse. As soon as practicable. That's the actual word? Folks, it's still not even, Parliament has not passed it. They're playing game. There's nothing hard about what's hard. What is hard about giving equality to property rights? It's in the Constitution, but it's still not enabled by the Parliament. And we're in 2025. So you foreign woman, you foreign man that wants to tell your woman to go to Ghana and run everything. They literally telling us we don't want women to run nothing. We don't want you to be equal on paperwork. Last year I was talking about patriarchy. It's written. It is written. And it is written in the Constitution, but it's not enabled by the Parliament. This is crazy to me. Crazy. And imagine at one point America was like this. Isn't that crazy? Thank you, ancestors, for fighting. Point number 3. With a view to achieving, I can't stand these terms. Aiming, practicable. I can't even say the word. With a view to achieving the full. What does that even mean? With a view to achieving the full realization of the rights referred to in Clause 2 of this article. Spouses shall have equal access to property jointly acquired during marriage. Assets which are jointly acquired during marriage shall be distributed equitably between the spouses upon dissolution of the marriage. But at the beginning it says, with a view to achieving the full realization. My God, they literally just said, oh, I've been big the whole time. Sorry, guys. I thought I made the articles big. You guys get what I'm saying? With the view of it being fully enabled. It's in the view. It's in the view. Oh. The more I read it, the madder. I'm just getting mad. It's in the view, guys. It's in the view. You still don't want to do your due diligence and send your woman that's not your wife to do land business. Shame on you. After watching this live and you do that, you're dumb. You're dumb. See, the couple, they didn't know. Like, I didn't know. So this is not a bash on this. But once you know, and you're still operating your emotions, you're done. Just give your money. Just give your money away. All right, folks, that was the video that sparked today's conversation. So if you're just chiming in, last week I went over, let me show you the thumbnail. Last week I talked about sexism and tribalism. Let me get there. While doing business in Ghana. Ooh, wrong one. Here we go. Sexism and tribalism. So if you want to watch the full video, you can watch it. Go to my channel and watch it. Or I think I clicked the link. It's in the description box as well. So yes, that live stream last week, I went over the Constitution and literally read it. See, I'm yelling already. If you're new here, when I'm passionate, I yell. I literally read it in the Ghanaian Constitution. We don't have to argue about it. It's written. Okay. And so, yeah, that's why we're here doing what we're doing today. All right. Let me make sure I did everything I needed to do before I bring up the guest. Yes. So, yeah, folks, that's what we're going to talk about. And let me lay the foundation, right? Because this video has the potential of getting hot, very hot. Okay. So I'm opening up the forum to my live stream to men only. We're going to listen today, women, because once my guest pops up on here and he starts sharing his wisdom, right? He brought this up to me. This wasn't even my idea. He said it, okay? And I said, this is stuff I need to know. I'm like, women need to know these things. So the forum is going to be open for you guys to come up as well and give your opinion on this, because I was just shocked when he educated me on that, because, you know, we need more mature, transparent, and emotionally stable men to speak, right? And BCB, my guest, if you guys all know him, right? He's been on my channel several times. He is that guy, right? And he married a Ghanaian woman. I think their 1 year anniversary just passed, or no, it's about to. You can nod your head if it's yes. Oh, no. Okay. It has not come up yet, but it's soon. Okay. So not only does he have a purchase plan, but he has a Ghanaian wife. Hello. And he's emotionally stable, which that's what I want for all of us. So I'm super excited for him to come on. And then just a reminder, men only. Women, go in the chat. We'll get to the chat. And folks, if you're too scared to come on the live, put what you want in the chat. Now, if the chat gets too crazy and I can't keep up, the best way for me to see your chat is making it a super chat or a super thanks or something. And then it will make put a color next to your name and I can see it. Okay. But if it doesn't get crazy in the chat, I'll be able to read everything. But if it does, that's the quickest way to get your comment, your question read. Okay. All right. Before I bring up our guest, let's look at the poll. Folks, we got a poll going. We got 7 votes so far. Why do you think men make laws against women? 57% says men are afraid of women's power. Okay. 29% said this is the way it is supposed to be. Ooh-wee. Okay. 14% says making the playing field equal. Ooh, see, I already don't like the results. I really don't like the results. But today, I'm even going to what? Listen. Okay. I want to try my best to control myself. Israel, what's up? All is well. All is well, folks. Okay, Small but Mighty crew. Let me bring up my guest and let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. All right, BCB in the house.
All right, let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah. Can you guys hear BCB? I can hear you.
All right.
Put it in the chat if you can hear BCB. What's good, Lex? Welcome, welcome. I can hear you good. Once we got one confirmation. They can hear you. Oh, second. Hey, JR in the house. What's happening? Oh, it's on and popping today. Okay. BCB, how you feeling, my brother?
I'm good. It's a
Yes.
decent day. We got beautiful weather in Chicago finally. So.
And that's like snow, that's a snow state, right?
It can be. It can be. It was a mild winter this year, but it can be pretty wild.
Yeah, we can't. Cali, West Side is the best side. West Side is the best side. Okay, BCB. You're one of the oldies but goodies. You've been here since the beginning. Okay. And I appreciate your support over the years, financially and everything. You just been that one. Okay. And that's why I really wanted you on my channel to talk about this, because not only have you just proven to be emotionally balanced, okay? We even had to fight the good fight in some of these comments under other people's videos, right? Attacking
That is
people.
true. That is true.
It's been real. So I know that we can trust his opinion, folks. That's what I'm trying to say, really. We can trust his opinion. And yeah, so let's start with how you felt when you watched the live stream last week, and we were literally reading in the Constitution, it's sexism, plainly written. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it's not surprising, right? You have a lot of the world where this is the standard, right? So Ghana's probably not too much different from, I don't know, maybe like 70-80% of the world, especially if you look back, some older generations, a lot of law. It's difficult to know exactly how far back this really would go, because you had about, I want to say 84% of the world at one point was colonized, right, by European powers over the last 500 years. So it's difficult to say what was going on prior to that colonization period. But this is where we are today, so but it's an issue all around the world, like you said, even in the US until very recently, till the 60s. That was the status quo here as well. So but it is, like I said, it's where we are today. So we gotta, see what we can do to work on it and move forward.
Right. And when you brought up, because men are afraid of women, I said, what? What does that even mean? Right. And so can you share what you meant by that? Because I was blown away, because people really, when it comes to transparency, people don't want to talk about that. Right. Especially. Yeah. So
it's a few things. Right.
Yeah.
So there's some men outright fear women. Right. So you see, if you go on any social media, you're going to see these people talking about, oh, don't get married. Don't never get married. Never commit to a woman. Woman's going to betray you. Woman's going to take everything you got. Woman's going to, they're going to break you down. They're going to, all this, that, and the other thing. And a lot of people, listen to that stuff. So it is unfortunate, but there's a lot of people being influenced by influencers, because that's what they do. They influence people. And, it is something that is a big hot topic. Every time you look on Instagram, it's especially in the Black community, you see this battle of the sexes thing. It just doesn't seem to go away. Right. But absolutely, it's ingrained into a lot of governments as well. I don't know if I would say for every case that it's fear. It is definitely fear for some people, like those ones where I was talking about, like, never give anything to a woman, never give your heart to a woman, never give any, don't sign any papers with women, all that. But you also have a suspicion of women, right? And I think that comes sometimes from men not understanding women. Men are very basic, right? They're very basic. They tend not to like the how sometimes when I don't want to say this wrong, but there's certain things that a woman might say or do where the thing that they're saying is not really what they mean, right?
They're liars.
Well, no, not that, but like, you know what I mean.
Are you alluding to the feminine wiles?
To some extent, right? Like, for
Okay.
example, if you're in a relationship, I was watching somebody talk about this the other day, where they said, if a woman says "do whatever you want," that doesn't really mean do whatever you want. You're right, those type of things. So sometimes men, they can't. It takes a long time sometimes to figure out, you know, what's always truly meant. And some men, they can't handle it, they can't tolerate it, they can't put up with it, they just give up. They're like, no, I'm not, you know, I don't like dealing with women, I don't know what they mean, I don't trust them. This is the outcome. And some people, this is usually people though that they're not interested in making that effort, right, and understanding. So you can have that outcome, and then you get a level of suspicion, you know, based on that. You know, if you look back, I was talking to you about the whole witch trials thing that happened in the U.S. You know, Salem witch trials, and there were some other witch trials, and this was like people just, you know, making up random things, saying women did this, women did that. They had no proof of any of those things, but they were killing people, they're burning people, killing people, throwing them in rivers, you know, with rocks around them, all kind of crazy stuff, because, you know, one way or another, they either didn't understand maybe what was happening to them, maybe they were in love, they couldn't get them out of their head, you know. There's a lot of
what's behind that though, because there's a reason for that. Like, what would you say is the real, like, the core of the reason why, you know, men feel that way? They feel insecure, or the fear stemming from somewhere, and they, to the point
that witch thing, a lot of that was just, you know, there's a lot of cases where it's been documented where maybe the man became infatuated with the woman, and then she didn't return that admiration, or, you know, some men are very proud, you know, they can't handle being turned down, especially people who are in high positions of power. And I think that's, you know, probably part of what was going on with that. You know,
well, that sounds like a mental illness.
It is. Well, it is. Yeah, it is. But there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. This is one of those things, again, around the world. There is some level of suspicion of women, and I don't know if it comes from just not understanding women, or, you know, what the deal is. I wish I had the 100% answer for that one, but it can't be debated that it is there. There is a level of suspicion, and because of that, I feel like when people are setting up laws, we see a lot of that flipped in the U.S. now. But around the world, historically, when people have been setting up laws, those laws are generally going to limit women's power.
Wow. And
because of that suspicion, I think.
PP Bob said men just want food and laying up after building society.
The men are simple. The men are very simple. They got, like, I mean, you could break it down to 3 or 4 needs that a man would have, right? So, you know, I don't want to be crude or anything, right? But
do it, please. Men, be crude.
You know, men, they need that one thing, right?
Okay. The boom boom and the coom coom.
Yeah, the thing that, you know, on the Instagram, everyone's calling it the portal power right now. They need that one thing.
The portal power, the pussy power, the PP, the wow.
Right. Yeah. They need that. They need to feel needed, right? They want to feel like, oh yeah, I'm doing something. You know, the whole like, oh, I can fix this, or I can take care of that. You know, if the woman says, hey, I need this, I need that, the man wants to be like, oh yeah, I got that. You know, I can take care of that for you. You got the provider thing, right? Men like to feel like they're the one providing, right? And then they need respect. Right. So a lot of men don't feel like they're getting societal respect unless those other 3 things are already occurring, right? They've got a woman that they're getting the powwow from. Maybe they've got a woman that they're doing a good job of providing for, that they can handle things around their house, take care of their property, things like that, right? So for some men, if they meet a woman that doesn't need any of those things, right? Maybe she's not into men. Maybe she's, maybe she's into men, but she's not into relationships, right? Or she's able to fix everything on her own, or she's able to just pay for somebody else to fix all her, things. Maybe she's got a high-paying job. She's super educated. She doesn't need money. She doesn't need, financial assistance in any way, shape, or form. We got some of these women, they just go to the, as far as even family, they're just going out to the sperm bank. It's a common thing in the U.S. right now, right? They're going out.
And the fact you said U.S., because even in the last stream, I brought up, I'm not really into the marriage thing. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, Leslie, do you know, to even be able to say that means you're from the West?
Yeah.
Right? Because you brought up the topic, if they're having, if they don't need you, right? I get to think like that because I was raised here. Yeah. And so not every women in every country have even the possibility to even speak out their mouth that, oh, marriage, I'm not really into it. Well, that's the solution for a lot of women. That's their way out. Yeah. Right. So we also have to be mindful of we're cross-cultural functioning right now. Just this very conversation. Yeah. We're crossing cultures. And you married a Ghanaian woman. So you definitely crossed the culture. You're crossing it up. Okay.
Right.
And I think one thing that I like that you said was, and you really made it clear that when a woman doesn't need you, right, it's felt.
Yeah, men don't like that, right? Because so for some of these men, they're like, okay, well, what is that? What do I do now? Like, what's left for me, right? And you see this again here, and I'm gonna go back to Ghana, but because not all, but a lot of us, that are probably in the chat here watching, they're in the U.S. or know some things about the U.S. You have these crazy incel guys running around, doing all kinds of crazy. You never heard of the incels?
What is that?
Are you serious? Oh my goodness.
Incels?
What are they called? They are involuntarily celibate. That is a thing. And some of these guys,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're violent. They're running around doing all kind of crazy things to women. They're shooting up campuses. They're doing all kind of. Some of these guys are part of this red pill stuff. But yeah, it gets dangerous, with some of these dudes. But going back to Ghana, these are things that are happening more in the West right now. But I think that the people who are kind of exhibiting these behaviors now in the U.S. can become the outcome in some other places. I don't know if people are afraid of these type of things happening in some places, and they're trying to preserve male role, male leadership role, or other types of conditions, right, that allows men to feel these things that they need. I'm not sure, but absolutely,
it sounds like insecurity.
It is, but absolutely the easiest way to ensure that you don't have to deal with those type of things is to set up a patriarchal society, right? So
laws, and that's where the laws come in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
PB says women want companionship and resource cover cover the kids. Fred says, yeah, men are afraid of being in America.
America's a wild place right now. I mean, the fear that okay, so in Ghana, very recently, like you were saying on the last live stream, right? I don't know what year it was. It was 2022 or 2023 when they did the revamp of the marriage laws there, and some additional benefits were added for women, and like in a divorce situation. Obviously, they still talking about like with the view of, you know, we were joking
with
about
the
that. Yeah,
with the view,
right. Yeah, of the final direction of the thing isn't really, you know, determined or set in stone, but some things were added, you know, as far as like property rights after divorce in Ghana. So
it was added, but not enabled. So it's in the Constitution, but the Parliament has not enabled it to put it into practice.
Right, exactly. So
still can't get over
it. So it is moving. It's been moving for a long time, because what was the other one? I think was there from like 2002. There's the original one, or it might have even been the late 90s where they originally added the language.
Yeah, it was 1992.
It was a long time ago.
1996, 2009, 2024, and then they're still fighting for it today.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, the easiest way to make sure that you don't have too much competition for certain things is to put rules in place, or restrict access to certain rights. So
wild.
That's where it's coming from.
And I'm just born in a different time, right? Because even like one of the comments right now, when a woman has power, the structure is off. Men are meant to have power and women are meant to follow. That's the animal kingdom. If you want to be an animal.
Right. That argument is out there, right? If you look at the rest of, the mammals on the planet, that is the way it is, right? But those are usually a case where there's a physical dominance, right? And technically, in humanity, you have that as well. Males are generally larger, much more muscular, faster, all those type of things. But we also don't do those, or at least we in a good society, we don't do those things that would enforce that or could be enforced with those, with those advantages, right? So, yeah, you got the silverback gorilla. He's out there on his own. He's got, his harem, and if somebody's out of line, he's going to do something. The same thing with the lions, right? All those arguments are out there. But we're humans, right? So we're not animals. We do things different. So if we want to make sure that we have an equitable society, we got to look at ways that we can have a level of women's empowerment that still allows men to, feel like they're doing the things they need to be fulfilled. Because it can be a problem, right? It's a mental and spiritual fulfillment issue for some men, right? If they have no job, no woman, no family, it is going to be, it's a problem. And I don't know if that's the main reason that people have set things up this way, but that is part of the fear and part of the suspicion. It's that whole thing about, what do I have left if I can't provide? I can't have a family. I can't get in that portal. Like, what's my purpose? I might as well go and sign up to be a priest, right?
A eunuch. Go ahead and cut off the tip. So I remember one comment. It was a while back. Someone said, patriarchy is the way it's supposed to be. It's the flow of it. Like, we're meant to provide. And I was reading it fast. I think I got sidetracked and I did something else. And I said, being a provider and a protector doesn't mean being an oppressor.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not know that? Like, there's people think being a protecting and oppressing is the same. I'm like, there's a difference. Yes, like you brought up, men are bigger. for you to protect us, not to oppress and abuse us.
Right. Yeah.
But if someone doesn't know the difference between protecting and abusing, they
Mm-hmm.
think that's just the way it's supposed to be. If I want to knock you up beside your head, I can do it because God gave me muscle to do so. No.
So the way I look at it, right? Because I take all this information, right? You do have to look at, you know, the general structure of society today, and then you have to compare that to what was there previously. And again, we can't get back too far, unfortunately, because most places were colonized. There are some places that weren't colonized, and maybe we could look at, you know, some of those places and see what the structure was like 1,000 years ago or whatever.
Like
but
Ethiopia?
We have limited information.
Like Ethiopia?
Yeah, Ethiopia would be a good example. We have limited information from most other places, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also that element where you have a lot of women. I don't know if you've seen the...
it went viral. I already know what you're about to say. That video when I think Shaka Bar showed it. All the matriarchal societies are all women societies around the world. Is that
there were a lot. There were a lot, right? Where, I mean, some of the Native American societies, you had women were making the decisions, and then men were, you know, handling the warfare and you know, some other things. But those were times when there was a lot of warfare, right? Like a lot. You know, you look at Europe, you know, you look at Africa, everywhere in the world. Yes, there's war going on right now, but there was a lot more war. You know, it wasn't at the scale. You know, they didn't have bombs and, you know, all kind of crazy high-tech weaponry, but there was a lot of small-scale warfare going on, and men was generally getting killed off at a much higher rate, right? So you would have fewer men, and fewer, you know, because there's fewer men, there's less competition, you know, for mates or partners or, you know, whatever the case would be. But yeah, we gotta do what we can to work with our current situation, our current society, sets of societies, you know, because there's different societies and cultures around the world, and try to improve.
Research Twin, I really enjoy the patriarchal vibes in Ghana, even though simping is off the charts in Ghana.
Simping is a great term. So
explain that for those who don't know.
So simping back in the day, this would be we would call this whipped. Like, this guy's whipped, right? Like that's what it was. So man's gonna do whatever his woman wants him to do. And for the most part, like if those few things that I talked about earlier are being met, they're still gonna do it. If they're getting what they need at home, if they, you know, if they're feeling needed and appreciated at home, respected at home, they're providing. For the most part, whatever the woman really wants, they're gonna do it. Like, it's a way of asking, right? If the woman knows how to ask for things in that kind of soft way, they're just gonna do it. So it's just a different means of control. You got some women know how to handle men that way. Other women are gonna do that thing everyone also likes to talk about on social media. They're like, oh well, I'm gonna deny him this unless he does that, right?
Deny the pussy.
Exactly. That one doesn't go well. That one does not go well for anybody.
So people
that see that stuff on social media and they're like, I'm gonna try that. No, do not try that. That is not gonna get you anywhere you want to be. So simping is what it is now. It used to be, oh, do this whip. Now it's simping. Simping can be a little bit different, right? Because you do got dudes just giving money to women they've never met. They have no idea. They don't even know their first real name, and they just giving them money or sending them things. Like, it's crazy with the social media simping, but it is a great term, and it is out there. Yeah.
Do you think the laws that are made against women is a power play or a protection play? Because it sounds like, to me, it comes more from an insecure place. And so I see it more as, let's protect us, because if we simping, the feminine wiles takes us over. So let's make sure we make laws to control that, so we don't, lose our place.
I think so, to some extent, right? Like, a lot of dudes, kind of like what I was saying before. If they don't have that set of things, they feel like they have nothing else. So they want to put some sort of limitations on what women can do. That is something that probably happens. A lot of it does come from just not understanding. Some people, they just don't understand. They don't want to understand. There's too much time. You would have to sit, like, it does happen. You would have to sit there for a while and kind of, maybe she means this, maybe she means that, like, try to figure out what's really going on. And some people, they just don't want to deal with that. So if it's business, if it's politics, and they can't really trust that they understand, what's going on the other side, then this could be, one way of securing enough control to know that they're at least protected from, what could potentially be coming from the other side.
Ladies, since laws are being put in place, because we are too powerful, let us learn the game.
So women have a lot. Women have a lot, right? The women are going to be, they have been historically, they are now, and as far as I'm concerned, they always will be the fair gender, right? They're always going to be more beautiful. They are the ones who can bring a child, right? So there's a lot of things women have. They're smart. Women are very good at a lot of things. It is proven scientifically. I'm a little bit of a science geek. Women are better at multitasking, which makes sense, right? Because they have to be able to manage, children or an infant, and still be able to take care of other things that are going on. Women are just better at multitasking. Most people that are, looking at business metrics, they will admit it. Women are better at a lot of, corporate functions. Yeah, because they're better at multitasking. Men are usually better at single task or manipulation of, like, physical objects, right? That's why you get a lot of, like, handyman type work, usually, not always, but usually dominated by men. A lot of times they're better at some of those things. Some people say driving. Obviously, that's not the case for
I'll never
everybody.
That one.
For everybody, but yeah, there are some differences where, that men feel like, hey, these are supposed to be jobs for men, or these supposed to be fields that men excel in. And if you have a lot of anytime you say, okay, this is a job, like if you look at back when I don't remember if it was World War I or World War II, but they really started promoting women in the workplace, right?
There was no other choice. Women were fighting.
Exactly.
I mean, men were fighting. So we had to take our dresses and put on overalls.
Exactly.
And
Rosie the Riveter, I think, was the one poster. The woman with the hammer driving the scarf.
Yeah. A lot of women worked on the railroads because the men were gone.
So then you had the big push after the war to have more women in the workplace. If you look at it from a economic standpoint, you just double the workforce, right? So that job that you could have previously, that job that you could have probably easily obtained, now you got twice as many people applying for that job. You got the pay is going to go down, right? Because you got more. Anytime you got more people available than jobs, pay is going to either be stagnant or go down, right?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, supply and demand, simple supply and demand when it comes to labor in the workforce. So
now
there's a lot of factors involved, but
and I agree. And Lex brings up, actually, it's good you said that, because Lex kind of says what you just put. The social contract between men and women doesn't work if women are above men economically. Women are hypergamous. I don't know what that means. Only wanting men at or above their economic level. Okay. I know you brought up social media too. So what's your take on that? Basically, and JR kind of says the same thing. There's structure to family, something that we've gotten far away from.
True.
So this structure, I'm all I'm hearing, to be honest, is in order to keep us more secure in ourselves, because there's an insecurity, we have to make these laws. And there's unwritten, that's all I hear. I'm trying to like be politically.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. Kind of like what JR and Lex were saying, right? The society does change significantly anytime you do have women who are more educated and have higher positions of power, right? One thing that does happen is you will see, for example, the birth rate drop significantly, right? Which is why you have all these people in Europe and in the United States talking about, what's happening? Our population it's gone. There's, we're losing, because for a lot of these folks, it's always a numbers game. They don't want to say, I want to get into groups, but there's some groups are very concerned about, our numbers going down.
The pale faces are dying off.
Exactly.
The ice people.
Yeah, right.
By
the White
nature.
Walkers. The White Walkers, the number going down. So
their women aren't having their babies.
Exactly.
So they have to make those laws because they are jumping ship and having your babies, BCB.
They ain't having my baby.
I mean, the black man's baby. They're having everyone else's baby except theirs, statistically speaking. And so, we're dying off. You are dying off naturally.
Right. Yeah. But even if you look at any country, the higher the level of education or business acumen women are reaching, the birth rate does go down. Right. It's just factual. But you should be able to have some people say, okay, that's not for me. Like if a woman says that's not for me, they should still be able to go about their business without having roadblocks placed in front of them. Right. The issue is I don't want to get too wild in this, but the way that the way the media has portrayed, the media is powerful. People don't realize, especially in music. Music is extremely powerful. You might hear a song, you haven't heard the song in 10, 15, 20 years. You hear that song, the words start coming back. Everything that's set to music it's locked in, right? And it's really, again, like if you look at science, it is an ancient thing, right? It's as far back as you go in the development of species, whether you're one of the people that believes in like the Darwin theory, or if you believe something else, all these animals have songs. Frogs got songs, dolphins got songs, birds got songs, all mammals got songs or howls or whatever.
That call.
Music, and some of these animals, the things that they do, it sounds like music, right? Because it's an ancient thing. There's a few other I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but music is extremely powerful, and it is one of the ways that the media has dominated the mind of a lot of people, right? So when you start to see the we talked about this just a little tiny bit the other day, but when you start to see in the 90s in particular, in the quote unquote Black American music, right? You had this thing of, women ain't nothing but hoes, tricks,
bitches
whatever.
and hoes.
Bitches and hoes, right? And then what you see more of recently is the push for the independent women, right? The INDEP, whatever, and some of the other stuff that was going on. So a lot of people will say, look, this stuff is being created intentionally to divide and prevent the family, right? That cannot be discounted. It is a real thing that is happening, but you still have to say, okay, again, that's for me or that's not for me. Maybe I'm family oriented. Maybe a young woman knows from a young age, hey, I just want to have a family. I want to meet a nice man, have him provide. I'll raise kids. Perfect for her. And you might have some other women that say, I'm not into family. I just want to go about my business. I want to, maybe I'll hit the egg farm, the little donor thing, freeze whatever. And maybe when I'm 45, I'll go and try to have a kid, right? After I'm done with my career. That's fine too. So we shouldn't have the roadblocks or like necessarily a fear or distrust of women. But I feel like because, especially here in the States, because of the way certain things are pushed, that's the part of the reason we have this huge gender war nonsense going on. And I think some people around the world are observing that, and that's kind of slowing down the progress. They're saying, I don't know, should we do this? Look what happened over there when they did that. You know what I mean?
That's the perfect way to put it, gender war, right? And that's something, especially in the States, we can avoid. And that's why I like what PP Bob put up. High income women can marry low income men if the women move with wisdom. And that's what I was alluding to earlier. They're not going to stop making laws against our bodies and against us. Okay. So what we got to do? We got to learn how to play the game in wisdom. Find out what we got to do for the women listening that might feel discouraged. I'm like, because at first when I started learning about this, I was just like, we're oppressed, but then eventually I was like, okay, wait, we've been going through this for hundreds of years. What did the women do hundreds of years ago? And that's why Bridgerton is such a good series.
I've never seen it.
Right?
Never seen it.
When you talk about gender war, imagine in England in the 1700s, how did women still had to thrive, even though they were oppressed. So how did they do it, right? Because to this day, women are still thriving in this patriarchal society. We just got to know how to play the game.
Yeah, never seen it. I don't know anything about that show, but I mean, if it's coming from Europe and it's got to deal with oppression, it sounds about right.
And the twist is that the queen is a Black woman. So throughout the whole series, everyone's mixed. There's Asian, Blacks, whites, and so that's what makes it really popular, because the queen is a Black woman. So if you guys, I would, especially if you're a woman, this last Bridgerton series, I would watch it because I got so motivated, and I'm just like, even though we're looking in the faces of patriarchy and oppression. We can still win and thrive, right? Come on, JR. We got a stream sponsor. King George, keep on rolling. So JR saying, we ain't got no Europe king. We ain't giving no recognition to King George. I wonder if it's true, if King George really had a mental disability, because they showed that in the in Bridgerton.
On that show.
But let me update the banner, because we got a stream sponsor, JR. Now, folks, JR has a page. He has bought land in Ghana. He is also building in Ghana. and renting in Ghana. So if you want to follow a real story, a real-time, real-life story, folks, check out his page. And it's funny that he brings up King James. He brings up King James, which is it's interesting because, like you said, a lot of it comes from colonization.
Mm-hmm.
It comes. Oh,
a lot of it does. I mean, there's other. There's a lot of other evidence out there as well, right? So, like, we do know, for example, like in if you look at ancient China, for example. I know you spent some time in China, so I don't know if you know about too much of the ancient society in China, but it was a place where a lot of people had a lot of wives. Like some of these people, had 15, 20 wives. They've moved away from that, obviously, in China, and then they went to the one-child policy, and then you saw some real crazy stuff, with what they were doing with some of the girls, that was, I don't want to get into too much of that, but because everyone wanted a boy, Now they got a huge shortage of women over there, and
it just seems like we have to find a balance, right? Because if you try to do too much on one side, it's not going to work, and that's where partnership comes in.
You got to have the partnership.
Too much of patriarchy ain't gonna do it. Too much of matriarchy is not gonna do it. Why is it so hard for us to be partners?
It's the media. It's the media. I'm telling you, it's the media. I mean, there are some things, right, that are just old traditionally, right? But a lot of it, like the stuff that we're dealing with today in the West, is definitely the media. And I feel like some of the people who are more traditional cultures, they look at the things going on in the West and they say, no, we don't want anything to do with that. Just like some of the other stuff that's been, Western governments have tried to push on African societies, right? In particular, recently we saw in Ghana, you saw the LGBT push. You saw the same thing in Uganda. You saw the same thing in Tanzania, where some of these governments, and I'm not going to get into, how I feel about any of those things, but you saw some of the governments say, look, if you don't do this, we're going to make you pay extra for this, or we're not going to give you this, these funds, or we're going to take away this aid program, or, whatever the case is, if you don't agree to do this cultural change, which is, a lot of times if you're pushing something and people are not interested and you keep pushing it, then you're going to have additional resistance, and that's going to slow things down.
One of my quotes, you probably read it in one of the books. I said, a nation is only as great as their women are free. I will stand by that. I will stand by that. That's why my behind is back in the States. Where am I less oppressed? That's where I want to be. And just to look at the poll real quick, why, folks, if you don't know, there's a poll at the top of the comment section on YouTube. The question is, why do you think men make laws against women? 50% says men are afraid of women's power. 33% says that is the way it is supposed to be. And then 17% says making the playing field equal. I'm shocked because I thought this is the way it's supposed to be, would be like the lowest count of votes, but it's in the second position. So the 33%, you look at, know who you are, I'll block you. No, JK. But sorry, I got sidetracked because of
there are some, right. The other thing is, I think it was Lex had mentioned the hypergamy thing, right? If you, and again, this is getting into, anytime you get into science, there's some things that people aren't going to like to hear, but it's a lot of stereotypes. There's a kernel of truth, right? So women, because they they're designed, right, to bear children, right? There's no way you can get around that.
Can't argue that one.
Yeah, you can't argue that one. They've got the equipment to bear children. A lot of the programming, right? You can't. There's whether you believe in evolution or you believe in, God setting these things or the universe, whatever. No matter what you believe, the fact is women are equipped to bear and rear children. Men are not. Right? They're going to contribute, of course, in that one way, right? Yeah, exactly. They're going to take their look, boom, right up in there. Yeah.
That's it.
But because of that, they are also, there's some level of programming to seek partners that have, I won't say money because money is not right, resources, okay, or stability. I think stability and resources would be a good way of saying it without getting too out there. Do women make exceptions? Absolutely. You see some women, they got kids with people that they got. Some of these men have nothing, like absolutely nothing, and they got 10. Yeah, losers. They got 10 kids, right? But there is some level of that. So what he's saying is, if you have women in an economically superior position, they no longer have to search for that type of security, whatever. Does it mean that every woman is just going to up and leave? No, but that is the argument some people will make. That some people say, oh well, she doesn't need security, she's just going to bounce, whenever she sees fit. To prevent that, maybe you should find someone that you love, or someone who's truly into you. Take more time in the courtship process. Make sure everything is lining up. I was talking to somebody else, and I was like, "Oh no, it was somebody else." I was saying people should just take more time to discuss their what they want, right? So if you meet somebody, let's say you meet a woman. If I'm a man, I'm looking for a woman, right? I want to find out pretty early on if she is interested in soft life, raising kids, soft life, no kids, if she's got career in mind, all those things. Those are different types of people, right? A lot of time people they might fall in love and then find out later on that the person is interested in something that they're not interested in. Or they might, say, oh no, I just want to be a career person, or I'm not interested in kids. These type of things, you should have these discussions early on, because there are people out there that are interested in that quote unquote traditional thing. Right. Oh, trad wife. That was the other thing I was asking about earlier. Have you ever heard that term? Trad wife.
Trad wife?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
The trad, like traditional. TRAD.
Oh, trad wife. Okay, traditional.
Yeah. So this is another new thing that's kind of popped up. I think shortly after COVID, really, you started to see this. You saw a lot of people when all the COVID thing was going on. A lot of people were just quitting the job. And I guess there were a lot of women deciding they wanted to just stay home and be a traditional wife, right? So then you started seeing this trad wife thing. But if you're interested in a traditional wife, they're out there. You can find them. But it doesn't mean that you have to restrict women's power, specifically due to fear of them becoming of them no longer needing you as a man, right?
And I think one thing that you brought up that a lot of fish in the sea, that's for sure. One thing that you brought up was, we're not as primal, quote unquote. Like you said, men had to go out there and fight, do a lot of wars. They died at a higher rate, right? And women took care of the home front, had the babies. Okay. Now that we're in the information age, there's not as many wars, right? to where the man being a fighter and a warrior, in that sense of protection is not as needed as much. I think it's like, where do we stand? If that's all we knew to do, what do we do now? And so is there a cognitive dissonance? Ooh, that's a good question. Is there a cognitive dissonance?
Another issue that goes along with what you just said is a lot of jobs which were more suited to fulfilling those needs, like maybe the need to go out and make something with your own hands, or things that would potentially substitute or satisfy that, like that whole warrior drive, right? Getting out there and physically spending energy every day, right? So maybe you're a blacksmith, you're a carpenter, you're a hunter, you're a fisherman, iron worker, all these type of jobs. These type of jobs are disappearing, right? Because of technology, right? So these are things, again, when you look at school right now, what's available in school in the U.S. at least, they and actually also in Africa, you look at Ghana, it's the same. Those home ec classes, those woodworking classes, electronics, classes, music, musician, all those things, all the arts, those are gone. They only are training employees right now, right? And that's another thing. If you don't have a trade, then you have less self-determination, right? So people that didn't go to trade school, and their schools, they nixed all that type of stuff, you're an employee. You are going to school to be somebody else's employee, unless you take it upon yourself to go and learn other things that they don't teach in school, how to do, how to be a business person, how to start a business, all those type of things, right? So if that's the position that you ultimately are going to end up having, again, you've got less opportunity to be a quote unquote provider, right? Or at least a relevant provider, somebody who can, generate what they need or what they feel they need to give a woman the soft life, right? So
relevancy.
Now
it's about being relevant.
Yeah,
changes of the times.
Yeah, men need to feel relevant. They need to feel adequate. They don't need to feel, if they're feeling inadequate, they're going to be doing some of these type of things,
So question.
Limiting women.
What do you think men need to do so they won't feel inadequate, so they won't implement assault, sexual assault, physical assault, these crazy ass laws? What do you think they need to do so they can get out this insecurity?
Learn a trade. I mean, if I was younger than I am now, I definitely would have went to a trade school, because actually I think we got a couple. Who was it? Tim, I think, is an electrician, right? Those are skills you could use anywhere in the world. You can be your own boss anywhere in the world, and it's something that you can't necessarily do, if you never went to a trade school. If you went to work for the phone company and whatever the case may be.
And guess where I work? Guess who I help recruit?
For a trade school?
Yep.
Really? Good for you, Leslie. Good for you.
I sit across men all day, and women too, but mostly men. And we talk about their vision, right? So I literally work at a trade school. I sit across men and I say, where do you want to see yourself in the next 9, 10, 11, 12 months? And they come in and they say, I need a skill set because I want to provide for my family.
There you go.
Right?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
If I knew about this earlier, I would have told like my brother to go to a trade school. Yeah. Because that's what's missing, skill sets. And when you don't have a skill set, you lack confidence. And when you lack confidence, you're going to find ways to make yourself feel confident.
There you go. You're insecure If you
Well,
don't have
I
the
ain't got no
confidence, you're
money.
insecure. Yeah.
Right.
What are the top two? What are the top two? Like people talk about top two paying jobs that you can have. What's the first two things that come to mind most of the time?
Well, in trades?
Well, in
Or just
general.
overall?
Yeah, in general.
Oh, they always say doctor and lawyer.
Bingo. Doctor
They
and
always say
lawyer are trades.
Right? Doctor and lawyer.
Yeah, those are trades. Those jobs, like a lot of people don't think of those as trades, right? But those are trade jobs. You've learned how to do a specific skill that you can use anywhere, right? Yeah, they're just two of the trades that you have to have the most acumen for, right? Very, very high level,
Right.
capabilities for learning things like that. But those are trades, just like an electrician or a plumber or, a carpenter, blacksmith. Those are absolutely trades. Yeah.
And the top two trades at our school is electrician technician, right? Well, that's a top trade. And then the top vocational is medical assistant.
Yeah. It's just like nursing. Nursing, you can once you have it, obviously that one is dominated by women. But nurses, they can make a lot of money and they can do it anywhere in the world that they want to. There's nurses making a lot of money. A lot of money. They are hiring nurses in the U.S. nonstop from the Philippines for the last, 30, 40 years.
Yeah,
Dubai is always hiring nurses. Yeah, especially since COVID. Dubai is always hiring nurses. They're paying nurses more than they're making here. Big money can be made through trades. And like you said, it's confidence. It's being able to be self-determined. If men can engage in more of those things, a lot of it also, especially what's necessary in Africa right now, is agriculture, right? Agriculture is a trade. And
the farmer, I said this in one of my videos, the farmer is the king, king. They're the king right now.
People gotta
in my
eat.
opinion.
Yeah. People gotta eat, So
PB Bob says you can't eat love.
Oh, I don't know. That could be argued. I don't know.
Really? We're not gonna go there.
Hey.
Next, let's talk about this one.
Nah, just kidding.
K and Q. Great discussion. The term partner actually comes from some same-sex relationships. This is why traditionally minded men and women don't use it hardly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I was thinking, partner is definitely modern, way more modern.
Yeah.
Let me see here. There's something I saw. Ooh, this looks good. Grandparents' generation believed in practical love. Do then say, eat then love on a full stomach. Ooh, there's some typos there.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. But...
What does JR say? If your insecurity is that low, you need to date on your level.
Or that. Yeah, that's the other option. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
But really, we want everyone to have high levels of, confidence. We don't want any low confidence people. We want everybody to be as confident as they can. And there's no reason not to. People can work on themselves,
And that's the thing. One thing I learned at a young age, not everybody wants to be great.
That's true, too.
If you know you don't want to be great, date on your level and stop trying to cross over and play these games. That's when the games start, because you shouldn't be up in my space.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. So now you gotta hide, connive, do all this stuff, because you don't want to step up here. See, it's coming from a place. I just had a flashback. Don't. You didn't put in the work.
Yeah.
You didn't put in the work. So don't come to high frequency things and you low frequency living. Date on your level. Thank you, JR. JR, you triggered me, but thank you for that.
Mindset
Date on
is
your level.
big. Yeah.
Ooh.
But it's, I think overall, It's that men do, on some level, fear being displaced by women. So if you kind of long story short, that fear is a fear of being displaced, of being unneeded. Men need to be needed, just like everybody else. Women need to be needed. Men need to be needed. It's a human thing. But the fear of being displaced by women, I think it's probably so powerful because men need women so bad, right? Like women don't always realize this, but the man's need of a woman is paramount. Like that is the driving force in a lot of people's lives. It's unless you're talking about those people who are obsessed with their work, like absolutely obsessed, and a lot of that could be argued is because they're using that to replace their need of a woman or family, right? Except for those people, the need for a woman is that's it. Like there's if you don't have a woman in your life, and again, obviously this is straight men. If you don't have a woman in your life, what are you waking up for? Like, what are you even doing?
I heard.
You know what I mean?
Thank you so much for your transparency, because I was watching Family Feud with my family, and they had a question like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many? What do women rank the need for men is? And a lot of women were saying 3, 4, 2, and Steve Harvey said, "I need a woman like 10."
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
a woman on 10. Exactly. And the way he said it, I was like, it didn't even cross my mind that the need was so. I know there was a need, but for you to hear men say it, it's like, oh, because we don't see it that way, because we're so used to abused and then mistreated. We're like, dang, they don't need us because look at how we're being treated. But when
that's
you
the
hear
thing
men
too,
say, no, we need you, like,
it's that whole just like the media. If it leads, what is it? If it bleeds, it leads, right? If it's bad news, it's going to be on the forefront, right? If it's negative, it's going to be on the forefront. So you're going to hear more of those stories. Every now and then you're going to hear those those heartwarming stories, but most of what's going to be out there is going to be that really, really negative stuff. So you hear that term.
That transparency was needed.
Men, now this might get some people heated, but there's a term out there. What's it? Oh, men are in love and women are in business, right? So, and this is talking about relationships. Okay, and this is something
I'm not going to argue that one.
Yeah, men are in love, women are in business. And it's another one of those things. There's a smidgen of truth to it, right? But men, and that's the whole reason that whole simp thing can happen. Men fall hard and fast, right? And they don't want to get their heart broke. Actually, not a man that I've ever met who I would look at and be like, oh, this dude's a player. This dude's no good. Every one of them dudes has had their heart broken at some point, and that's kind of when they change. It's like a protective, what do they call it? Like I don't know. It's a self-protection method. They then change to this, player or bad boy or whatever people want to call it.
It came from somewhere.
Yeah, it came from somewhere. Yeah. Everyone I know who's that way, at some point they were not that way, and usually they got crushed, and now that's how they are. So, and that's another thing that could sum up why men do fear women on some level, because most men can only tolerate a true heartbreak once, and after that they're not going to be the same ever again, and that they will always be suspicious of women after something like that. So that is
I think this is a good time
true.
That's big what you just said. I think I'm gonna open it up, folks. I tagged, if you want to join the stream, I put the link at the top of the description box on YouTube. You might be able to see it on StreamYard, but if you want to join, I think that's a perfect time for men to join. Men only. We want to hear you guys, get your opinion. But what you just said right now, That was deep. Because us women, we can go through some hard, like be hurt a couple of times and bounce back. But what you just said is only about one time, and you guys will never be the same.
Yeah, they won't be the same. They will not be the same.
Wow. Wow. So who's really strong? Like who really has the strength out here in these streets, right? Because I'm thinking women, dang, we can tolerate
different strengths. Definitely different strengths, right? Women have, for the most part, higher pain tolerance than men, right? And you will see women rebound from things that you will not see men rebound from mentally, even, you know. At the same time, men are able to endure certain, I guess, like gradual pains, or what's the word I'm looking for? The consistent struggle or consistent pains that can usually handle.
Suffering.
Yeah, long suffering. Yeah, men can usually handle, but like true agony, men, they ain't built for that. That's another thing you'll see people joke about on social media, how when a man gets a cold, he's like a baby, you know. And you see women got a cold, women got the flu, they're just working through it. Man is down for the count.
Right.
You know. Yeah.
Down for the count. Oh my. I mean, let's see the results of the poll. Let's see what we have so far. Why do you think men make laws against women? 46% men are afraid of women's power. 38% say that it is the way it's supposed to be. And then 15% says making the playing field equal. So BCB, no one has joined, so it's just me and you. Folks, if you want to join, join quickly. We're almost done. I would say we have about 8 minutes. We have about 8 minutes until we'll shut down. But overall, what I hear you say is we both have different strengths. Someone is talking to you directly. Let me put it up. BCB must have stood out like a peacock over there in Ghana with his salt and pepper crown where the median age is 20. He probably polygamous over there now with females sticking on him. Like
oh my goodness. So
now,
obviously,
go ahead,
at this
bro.
point, I'm married to a Ghanaian woman. But let me tell you, the very first time I went to Ghana, I was out there in Cape Coast. A woman came to me directly, and we were in a village, and she asked me if I would, I guess I'm already putting it out there. She asked me to come inside and do something. I'm like, what? And the guide who I was with at the time, he's like, some of the women have learned that you can collect child support from overseas. And
really? From America?
From America, yeah.
So
that's what he told me. I don't know. It's possible. You basically have to go to the U.S. Embassy and you got to have the person's information. But they will do an international
over for you
support.
Guys.
Yeah.
Passport bros, don't go to Africa.
If they got all your information, they will go to the U.S. Embassy and they will test that child, and you're on the hook, just like here. But
you are the father.
You are the father, exactly. But they did another same trip, only maybe like an hour and a half later. Something similar happened. Someone's like, "Yeah, can I come with you?" I'm like, "What?" And she had, limited English. I asked the guy, I'm like, "What is she talking about?" He's like, "She wants to leave here with us. Go with you to your hotel." I'm like, "No, what? It's interesting, but yeah, I do stand out over there. I do stand out over there. Yeah.
But think about it. Like I said yesterday when I was like, oh, marriage is not really my thing. Some of them women can't say what I say, right? Because marriage is their way out, or just having a baby is their way out.
Yeah.
Because in the States, we have so much government support. Women would just have kids and then boom, get on welfare, get on or whatever. Yeah. But they don't have that over there in Ghana. So it's not as easy. You can't just have a baby and be like, oh, I'll just go on welfare and collect this money. Right, that's not, no. Yeah. So they see you in America and they're like, what? And then now that I know you can collect child support, it's over for you.
Yeah, they can. They can. Be careful.
American men, y'all better be ready going over there to Africa.
Yeah. But there's some other things.
And I know.
I mean, I'm a little bit lighter than obviously than your average Ghanaian. So I do stand out. You know, sometimes people walk around and be like, hey, white man. Hey, white man. Like, don't call me white man. Don't call me that.
I think you're white.
Yeah. So.
Look at this. I did not know this was a thing. There's a passport bro on YouTube. Austin Holloman say a female over there in Kenya has sued him for child support. He is denying it though.
Yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it. They will test the baby.
Goodness.
And then they will get in touch with the State Department and your whatever state you live in here, and they will test you. And if they confirm that baby is yours,
that's the real chop.
Yeah. If that baby is confirmed yours, you are sending money every month or every 2 weeks to Ghana or to whatever country you happen to be in. South Africa.
They're about to garnish your check.
Mm-hmm.
Check garnishing. Wow. Okay, folks. Now, BCB, is there anything you wanted to say as we close? Folks, you guys, 3 more minutes if you want to join the live. Is there anything you want to mention or say that is crucial for us women to know? Because as we talked about it, overall, it seems like laws will continue to be made against us because of insecurity, because of power trips, because of protection. Like this thing is layered, and I don't see it going anywhere. So, what would you say? You know, just share with us. Help us, women that might not even know what to do in this type of situation.
I mean, I know that some women, they will wear, like if they happen to be in Ghana, they'll just wear wedding rings around, things like that, because you can get more done if somebody even if they just think you're a wife, you can get more done.
I did that. I did that my whole time. The whole time I was there.
Yeah.
Especially like the first 4 trips, that's what I did.
Yeah. So, because I was talking to my wife today, and I asked her about, maybe some of her past experiences that I could share, and she said, 100%. If you're trying to do business, if you're somebody's wife, it makes a big difference over there. There's a huge hierarchical difference in society there. If you're an unmarried woman, unless you're into your 40s, they're just going to call you a girl, right? You're just a girl. So you go from being a girl to being a wife, right? Obviously, once you reach a certain age, they're going to stop calling you a girl. But being a wife makes a big difference. Obviously, if you're not married, just pretend you're a wife. Do what you can.
And that's why I did the live stream last week on sexism and tribalism. Folks, listen to what BCB is saying. I don't just make stuff up. This is coming from experience and talking to other people.
Yeah, it's all true. Do what you can to, also, if you absolutely have to do something on your own, come dress fancy or something like that, and make people think she's a big woman, something like that. Yeah. High up there on the hierarchy.
I went wrong on that.
Yeah.
I went wrong on that one. I showed up to my overalls from the bush, like.
Yeah. If you got your bush clothes on,
dirt in between my fingernails.
Yeah, right. Bush clothes on, and no wedding band. It might be tough. But yeah, just be good to each other, and you'll find the right person. But yeah, for now, over there, it's tough. It's tough for the single.
You got to be strategic.
Yeah, you got to be very strategic.
You got to be strategic. And if ladies, if going to the motherland, especially doing business, is what you truly want to do, you got to adapt to them. You got to meet their frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, I'm not meeting your frequency. I'm going back to the States, right? And so if you're willing to meet their frequency, you'll be fine. Got to hire men, put them in place. Marriage is the strong tool over there. That'll help if you meet the right people. But if you're not trying to do all that and you're just like, I can do all by myself, then go ahead and stay in the States.
Another thing, like we didn't really even talk about is that whole, like we touched on it, but like the whole witchcraft thing. It's big there, right? Witchcraft is a serious thing there. There's a lot of like, even though it's part of more like a older religions that were, predate Christianity there, a lot of that is still ingrained in the culture. So people can accuse you of witchcraft over there, and it's a serious thing. They have there's like some witch town where they send a lot of women to up in the Northeast, and yeah, so you don't want to be accused of witchcraft over there. It's a thing. The juju, they
I was told
that.
Yeah, the juju. Also, one of my strategies, I was told to get my money back and everything, is just go to where you're talking about and get someone to go put a curse on someone. Like they're like, you want to get your money, Leslie? Go get one of the grandmothers.
You can go to, what do they call it there? The fetish priest. You can tell someone, hey, if you don't do this, I might have no recourse left but to go to the fetish priest. I don't know if I would actually do that, because that could create a lot of, that's a serious thing there. You might get some really wild response, but it's a serious thing there.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do that either. I think what I've done has been good enough. Did it give me my money back? No, but a dent was made. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Or you could tell people your event or something like that. Sometimes that can make a difference.
Jefe, boss?
No. Ewe.
And then I told, Ewe. And then
because they have
just
more
go over there
roots
with
in the
guns. The Ewe people?
Yeah, they have stronger.
The Ewe people have
roots.
more connections in the voodoo.
Yeah. Yeah. So some people will be a little bit more cautious in the way that they treat Ewe people. So
I didn't know that. Yeah. I'm Ewe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, folks. If there's any questions, put it out now. If not, we're going to close it out. BCB, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, because when you said that the other day, I said, we got to talk about this. Let me close the poll as well. Last chance to vote. I'm going to end it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And poll. The results will be in the comment section. But yeah. Yes. Thank you, BCB. Thank you. I look forward to getting your land story. We're still patiently waiting.
So, we got it's a good land. It's a good land.
It's a good land. Get ready for his story. I cannot wait to share it. But yeah, I think you said everything I need to know. To me, it's just insecurity and power moves. That's why. And we are definitely in a different age. We're in the information age, to where, you have to show yourself skilled. And if you don't want to pay the price and get a scale and put yourself in a position to where you can be around high frequency people, you got to date on your levels, stay in your lane, right? Well, I know that stay in your lane. If you don't want to be great, stay in your lane. Stay in your mediocre lane. And stay out of our way. You can make all the laws you want, but understand. Once the women that you have offended, not you BCB, just overall, if you have offended a woman and she taps into her feminine wiles, you're done for. There's no law that can protect you from that.
You see, that's why they're afraid. Just that right there, what you just said. Look out. That is it right there. That's why they're afraid.
We're coming.
You see? You just did it.
You simping, we taking all your money. There's no law against that. You gave it willingly. Yeah. And that's why you're making a law against me, because I'm coming for everything you got. I'm just playing, folks. That's not my style. But yeah, okay. Well, we're stay in your lane or create your broke men dirt lane. Oh, look at this. We're gonna end it on this note. PP Bob, stay in your lane or create your broke men dirt lane. Ooh, and that's that. Thank you, PP Bob. Lastly, I want to thank JR for JR the third. Thank you, sir, for being the stream sponsor. I appreciate you as always. Folks, go follow his page. He rents in Ghana. He has land in Ghana. He'll be building in Ghana. He lives a minimal lifestyle. So if you're into minimalism, he is the one. He's the page for you. Follow it. Thank you so much, JR. You are the stream sponsor of today. Thank you, Cash App crew. And thank you, BCB.
Anytime.
All righty. BCB, stay on, and then I'll just end the live. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging. I gotta
See y'all later.
I gotta show my guy. JR said, welcome. Thank you. Ta-ta, guys.
Now available, ebooks and e-workbooks to mentally and emotionally prepare you to visit, repatriate, or buy land in the motherland. And the authentic handmade kente cloth I got from Kumasi, Ghana is now a home decor line made by yours truly. Get a piece of the motherland until you can visit yourself. Click the link in the description box to visit my store.